Uh, the First Amendment to the Constitution protects American citizens' right to free speech, to peaceably assemble to petition the government for redress, and an association which has been upheld by courts for many, many years. This is a critical right that generations of American service members have fought and died for. Obviously, this protection ends when an individual's actions become violent, and I strongly condemn political violence of any kind. However, we cannot criminalize free speech, and we cannot criminalize the thoughts or beliefs of individuals simply because they may be viewed as different from our own. It doesn't matter what they believe, or what political party they belong to or associate with. I am deeply concerned this will have a chilling effect of silencing veterans from engaging in political speech, in effect depriving them of the very rights that they fought to defend. Sadly, this is not the only concerning example of those on the left trying to use government institutions to intimidate individuals they disagree with into silence under the guise of them being violent extremists. We saw just last week the Department of Justice weaponized against concerned parents who take the time to voice their concerns at school board meetings. These are hardly the only examples. I also have grave concerns regarding today's investigative hearing. Our veterans are hardworking and high-skilled individuals and leaders in our communities who have made incredible sacrifices to protect each and every one of our freedoms. It is an unfortunate reality that veterans have long battled stigmas associated with mental health issues resulting from their service, as well as perceptions they have a propensity to violence. I am deeply concerned that today's hearing in the Veterans Affairs Committee, rather than empowering our veterans by dispelling these stigmas, will further perpetuate these stigmas for all veterans and to be at the expense of veterans across our nation. The purpose of the House Veterans Affairs Committee is to support veterans through providing timely access to high quality health care and benefits which they have earned. I'm confident that by actually fulfilling this mission, instead of partaking in politically motivated investigations or instituting ideological tests, we will empower veterans to live healthy, successful, fulfilling lives. That being said, I'm deeply disturbed by the riots that occurred in cities across our nation last year and believe we must acknowledge the billions of dollars of damages and multiple deaths that occurred. To anyone on this panel, why is it today at the violent domestic extremist groups and recruitment of veterans are groups like Antifa and BLM notably absent?
Well, I can answer that. Thank you for your question and your comments. I believe the focus of this hearing is on the threats that are deemed the greatest risk to our Homeland Security. And as the Department of Homeland Security indicated in October 2020 in their annual threat assessment, and as the Office of the Director of National Intelligence indicated in their threat assessment in March of 2021.
You don't believe that billions of dollars of damage across our nation last summer is a threat to our national security?
Every form of political violence is a threat to our national security, but there are data points that indicate what the greatest threat are that have been assessed by the Department of Homeland Security and by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence under two different administrations.
And billions of dollars of damage across our nation, again, is not a threat?
Of course it's a threat. I said it's a threat, but
so
the
why are these groups
not equal to the threat.
Why are these groups then not included in this assessment that's taking place today?
That would be a question for the staffers, I think, to answer.
Okay, I'll be moving on then. Thank you. It's been estimated that the riots of 2020 cost Americans and property owners $1 billion and possibly up to $2 billion in damages. Colonel Plesler, what impact do such violent actions by those on the extreme left have on business owners, some of which are veterans, many of these business owners who are unable to easily offset these costs?
Thanks for your question, and I think it's an important one. I think anytime anyone in our country commits political violence is a threat to all of us. So I don't think we should, take great pains to differentiate between where that violence is committed, except when it's committed against symbols of our democracy. You know, I think it's one thing and it's tragic when somebody burns down a Walmart. I think it's another thing when they show up in our nation's capital and attack the very symbol of our democracy. And I'd like to
mean like the Antifa and BLM folks did again last summer when they were painting on statues and destroying private property here in the city as well?
What I'm saying is that our nation's capital.
Do you believe that that was violent acts that justified investigation?
I think it's interesting to make a distinction between that and showing up at our capital, which is really the cathedral of our body politic, right? I think there's two.
They're just on the street, one block detached from the Capitol, and they're destroying private property. Then that's not considered as severe as someone who actually came into the Capitol and in many circumstances had no barriers in place because the security was so lax that they could just waltz in.
I see one as an attack on commerce. I see another one as an attack on our Constitution.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I see my time has expired. I would yield back.